This feels way too forward. It's always a matter of pushing and pulling and trying to balance things out. One of the original kind of art directions I was going to take with this when I first found out about the when I was first asked to participate as a judge in this contest was I was going to go in kind of like a turning red sort of art direction. I love the things that Pixar is doing lately and how they're kind of breaking their own style. They're definitely taking some really cool risks in that sort of way, and so I wanted to kind of play with that style. I loved that style, and I think that it's so beautifully done. Ended up kind of taking a little bit of that flavor, but not a ton, and kind of did something more unique and more my own. And then, yeah, I mean, it's still developing. It's still kind of turning into something. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I tend to work my personal projects. You know, you figure out a basic style that you want to try to hit, and then if you hit it, then okay. But you know, if you don't, then you figure out what you can do to make it unique and make it your own thing, and it gets to be a really cool process and a neat little evolution of a project. Okay, let's go ahead and take this and pull this over some. Oh good, I was afraid for a second that had gotten like welded down. I would have been a little bit disappointed. I would have been very unhappy. Sorry, but that's not me. I'm supposed to remind you to say, yeah, Quinn. Thanks, Creams. Espíritu da luz suprema. How are you doing? Okay, the shape right here is getting a little bit lost. It's getting a little bit... Yeah. 3ds Max Maya, huh? 3ds Max Maya. How are you doing? I'm glad you liked the VOD of the head. It was fun. It's always fun going through and kind of exploring new styles, and in particular, I love exploring the head. I feel like the head is where you start to get the best feel for the tone of the character, and so I feel like as I develop the head design, I'm able to better understand where I want to take the rest of the design of the character. Anybody who saw my stream from last week will know that I had my sketch and I had a rough idea of what it is that I wanted to do. But now as I've gone through and start to put it together, it's starting to feel much more intentional, much more cohesive, and that's important. Let's go through and kind of smooth that out a little bit. Okay, there's a lot of gap right there. And right here. Okay, let's block in some buttons. Okay. The flip normal guy. So I have stuff on flip normals. I'm not actually the flip normal guy. Yeah, that would be Henning and Morton. They're awesome. Really, really nice guys. Hair bushy. Let's say hair scalp. And actually, let's go ahead and add an underscore between these. Eyebrows, that's good. Hat. Glasses. We'll say... Oops. Good grief, my fingers are not hitting the right keys. Top. I'm going to have to do something more intentional for the sleeves at some point, but we'll leave them as they are for now. I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, geometry. Oh, okay, I see. Delete lower. Let's go ahead and kind of make this nice and clean here. So we got the nice clean flow going around the back. We got the clean flow going over the top. Okay, what I want to do is I want to add dynamic subdivisions. We'll make it like one subdivision, but then we want to add thickness. .02. We'll say 0.02 and see what that looks like. Let's say 0.01 or 0.015, something like that. 0.01. So we're gonna try to keep certain pieces that are the same. Oh sure, yeah. My art station is right up here. Yeah, any social media platform, you'll be able to find me underneath SMAARTIST, SMAARTIST, SMAARTIST. It's just a serendipitous combination of my initials and the word artist, but you know it works for me, right? So it's fun. So yeah, that's me. This is kind of some of the stuff that I've done and have fun with. It's a good time. It's a good time. You know, that's what we were here for, right? I'm really enjoying getting this this character going. I really love seeing characters come together. It's so 0.3, not 0.3, 0.03. There we go. So now that's got a thickness to it. Need to make sure that that waistband here has some thickness to it. liking how this is turning out. Oh man, guys, this is so cool. Oops, let's go ahead and say Control W here. I'm actually going to drag that out a little bit. And kind of pull it in some. It'll kind of give me a little extra bit of mesh to deal with. Yeah, just a lot of fun. Thanks, 1-2. Or I'll call you Nichols. I'll call you Nichols. Okay, so there's that. I'm trying to decide. It was like on this side I've got it, so maybe I'll just, yeah, I'll keep going. I'll keep going. We're good. We're good. Okay, I'm just trying to bring this down so that it has the same shape as the other side. Do you think over the light? Nichols is cool. Nichols is cool. Clean modeling, very good. Obrigado. Thank you so much, Luis. Do you think over the lifetime, if we want to be precise, we should work on specific style, only like photorealistic, or maybe style? So it kind of depends on what kind of work you want. The work that you want is the work you want to advertise. So like for me, I kind of have a whole bunch of different sort of things, but my favorite types of styles are, you know, fairly like stylized realism is kind of the way that I like to term it. But I also like things like this where it's super stylized. You can see like some of these things down here. I mean, like super stylized, super stylized. I keep forgetting that I did like these little portraits and stuff. You know, stylized, but they're portraits of people and they're recognizable. You know, I like to do stylized stuff. I have done some that are kind of more realistic and more, you know, portrait like, you know, so that it feels more like the person that it's supposed to be. That's such an old piece from 6 years ago. It's more than 6 years ago. It's like 8 years ago. But whatever. Yeah, so it's fun, and it's all just kind of figuring out like what it is that you want to do, and then advertising that through what it is that you post. So, you know, I've got like my Katrina, who's like this, you know, stylized character. There's still a base of anatomy there, where it's like you can tell that, you know, she has her shoulders, and you can see like the bony part of her shoulder kind of poking through. You can see the way that the hands are formed, the way that the face is formed. It all has this sense of reality to it, but it's stylized in a way that makes her feel like she fits into her own world. Um, the same thing with like, you know, this sort of character where like the face is very stylized and shapes are pushed and things like that. So, you know, with this guy, it's just a matter of like being insanely pushed in all shape. In fact, this is kind of a bit of the inspiration that I was taking for the design for this current character and trying to make them fit in the same world. And she ended up going a little bit different of a direction that I really liked, and so I decided to push that a little bit further. But I think that it's really important that as we go through and think about kind of what it is that we want to do, that we advertise that by what it is that we post. I'm going to split this right here. Oh, you know what? Let's do this first instead. I want to make sure that this flows nicely and has like a nice clean shape to it. I'm going to have it with like an offset, an off-centered, what's it called? Button. Button thing. I'm going to pull that over, pull this over, pull this up. Something like that, then give it the thickness. Now it's got the thickness, and I can go through and start adding in things to make that feel right. One thing I had considered is, can you save a mask selection in ZBrush like saving a selection in Photoshop? I can't think of a way of doing that. You do have ways of being able to mask using alpha. So if I were to go through here and say, you know, mask pen, I can change to like drag rectangle, and then, you know, say this is the mask that the shape that I want to have. I can come in here and let's grab the right thing here. It's not very high resolution, so let's kind of add some resolution to it so that we can see. The mask itself isn't very high, so let's see. So you can see how we can kind of, let me see. Let's see if we can get a better. There we go. Okay, so you can see now, like we can do that sort of thing where it's like we're using alphas to be able to mask things out. But you know, for instance, if I wanted to be able to copy that mask and save it for later, there are some new options to be able to do some really cool things, but I don't think there's anything to be able to actually like copy and yeah, no, there's not anything to be able to copy or do anything like that, which is sad, but you know, it's one of those things that I think is a little bit trickier to manage than it would be inside of Photoshop, because in Photoshop you're dealing with 2D. If everything had UVs inside of ZBrush, I could see something like that being more of a possibility. Or you could use things like different color selections. So you could come over here to mask by color. Where is it at? Mask by color. You could say mask by poly paint, intensity, hue, saturation. So you can say, you know, poly paint. You come in here and you say, maybe I want to select these lips. You just click and drag from one of these squares and you can kind of grab that. You see it kind of grabs everything else around it too that has a similar color, so you can take that tolerance down. say something maybe like this, because I can get rid of that really easily. And I can say, okay, oops, let's get rid of that. Let's say dots. Okay, so now we have those lips masked out, and if I wanted to, I could kind of soften that once. Let's hide that mask, and then we can say poly paint. We can say adjust colors. So I mean, right now you can see like it only has those lips visible. I'm going to say hide mask, and what I can do is I can say hue. I can kind of push this hue maybe in a different direction, take the saturation down if I want to. Let's maybe leave it somewhere around right there. So yeah, you can go through. You can kind of play around with this some. It's a little bit too saturated in my mind, and it's a little bit too pink. Something maybe like that. Okay, so there you can see it. You can go through and do things like that. But yeah, it's being able to like copy mask and save it for later, that sort of thing. That's the closest I can think of to be able to tell you for that. Oh, let me see. I went with 1-2 Nickels. My original nickname in high school was 2 Nickels. The reason for that is I had 2 front teeth. More to the right, knocked out, so dentist put steel posts, so my friends called me 2 Nickels. Interesting. Tell about your workflow. Do you always work on concept from your own idea to directly ZBrush? Most of the time. For my own personal projects, I really like working in my own ideas. I just find so much value in being able to do my own thing, Okay, let me see. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select the earrings just because they're there and I don't have to worry about them being like ridiculous in how they what am I thinking of? It's like they don't have thickness applied to them. So that's going to be kind of important to me in making sure that as I add buttons right now, that I don't have to worry about there being. It looks like I need to import my button brush. Load brush. ZBrush library. Must-haves. Brushes. SMA. Acorn, thistle. Where are my buttons? I've got to have them somewhere. There's no way that I... Rope, chains... Huh. Shoot, I know I have it somewhere. Oh, now I feel super... I don't want to make a new one. I know that I have it. Where is it? It's like I don't see it in any of the other. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'll load in this brush, because this one has some neat little buttons that I've made. The depth on that's pretty ridiculous. Let's see. So you see, like, I'm dragging it out and then I'm holding control after I start dragging it out so that it holds the same size as the brush. So it needs to have a little bit of a height to it. I'm gonna need to probably double what I have now, so let's go ahead and put it up to like 22, somewhere around there. That's better. I'm still not entirely certain if that's what I want for that. But it might be good for there. It's a little bit too ornate. What happens if I get rid of that? I don't know. I won't worry about buttons for right now then. Let's just worry on continuing what we're doing. Okay, turn on that perspective, be able to appreciate it a little bit better. Okay, let's see about joining in the sleeves. Earrings. There we go. Let's go ahead and merge that down so that that's all one piece. And what I want to do is take off the subdivisions here. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. Split. This needs to have fewer subdivisions for me to work with. Delete higher. Now we can go ahead and say merge down. And now it's going to be easier for me to manage. Let's grab these. It's always kind of tricky when you're trying to navigate some of these types of things here. I'm going to bring the shoulders out just a little bit here, just so that I can hopefully make this all make sense. I want to connect the shoulders, like the blouse shoulders, to the actual blouse, so that way it's, you know, something that I can use. Okay, something like that. That's feeling more appealing. It's working much better. So my technique is different depending on what it is that I'm working on. Because this particular character is not intended as a, you know, production ready model. I mean, I'll probably put her into my portfolio as like some sort of character design example. But because she's intended as like a character design example, there are going to be pieces that are kind of mushed together. You know, like for instance, the arms have nice topology, and these are ready to go for production. But something like her face is not. Her teeth are, you know, kind of. At least for the first, the front four. I thought about adding braces actually. I'm still trying to consider that because it could be really funny and interesting. In fact, just for the sake of testing it out, I'm going to center that. Oops, come on. Center it, turn it. Control Shift A, delete hidden, center, home. Just kind of shrink it in one direction. And that's what makes you beautiful. Okay. The one thing that I'm going to want to watch out for in doing this, though, is that it doesn't make it look overcrowded. It already feels like it's a little bit overcrowded, so it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to... Let's just test it out since we're here already. Might as well. In fact, let's use this. And we'll go ahead and we'll say flatten, and we will change it so that it has symmetry in this direction, and we can flatten it like that. And then we can change it so it has flattening symmetry in this direction. And yeah, we'll call it good. Or maybe we'll just leave it round. I don't know. Let's just leave it round and see what it's like. Except just for the sake of being able to place it and be able to see and figure out if it works for us. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it works for us, so let's just say we'll rename this braces, and then we'll just hide it, just in case we decide to come back to it later. And don't forget to save. Thanks, man. But yeah, so far as workflow goes, if I'm designing a character for production, then I'll go through and I'll start off with something like Dynamesh or what's it called? Dynamesh or Sculptors Pro up here at the top, right there. Otherwise, I'll box model it. It really kind of just depends on how it is that I'm feeling I can most easily accomplish what it is I'm trying to get to. Let's go ahead and kind of, soften that out a little bit. Since this is kind of bunched up back here in the back, I need this to feel a little bit more bunched up. Oops, let's go ahead and grab that. So we'll take this, and then I'm just going to kind of brush in. That's not what I wanted. I wanted the add, kind of brush that in. I don't want it to feel super even, so I'm trying to kind of vary it up a little bit more. Let's do something kind of like this. Let's do something like this, something, you know, just kind of making it vary a little bit more. Okay, I'm liking where that's going. Ooh, so much work. But yeah, then I like to do a lot of. Is there a preference for yours? Yeah, it kind of depends on what it is that I'm doing, because like if it is all about design, then I'm not going to care too much about making sure that my topology is good. Unless for the sake that I know that I'm going to want to make sure that I do different facial expressions or things of that nature. Let's get rid of the spotlight, and we'll just bring her up here and take a snapshot. Because I know that it can be kind of frustrating to me sometimes too, where it's like I want to work through a character. If I know that I have a base mesh, like a base topology already ready, I'll work from that sometimes. Like I did, let me see. I created, what's one that I did recently that had its, I mean, this is one that I started out in Dynamesh and then topologized and then did all the stuff for, totally from scratch. But then, for instance, this character, I actually started with my Pink Witch character, this gal right here. Orale. I started with her exactly like this because I wanted to use this exact body pose. I was like, I'll just start with her. And then I actually went ahead and I resculpted the arms to be in the right position that I wanted. And yeah, it worked really well. It's really, really fun to be able to go through and kind of reuse things like that. I did reposition the legs a little bit. You know, they're crossed here, they're not crossed here. But you know, it's just all about fun. It's all about figuring out kind of some of the ways that you go about. Show de bola. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun being able to go through and kind of play around with those sorts of things and figure out how to make different things work for you. Like for instance, these shoes. This is a shoe that I can go ahead and I can use and reuse. It's not finished technically, so it's just there for looks, but it's one of those things that I have available to me, and I've used it on this character. I've used it on. A ver. Do I have her in here? I think I do. I used it on this character. I think this is the character that I actually made that shoe for. I have this katana that I made for another project that I went ahead and used in this project, and yeah, so, and then I've been able to use the same base mesh female character to be able to make this character, as I made, you know, the Katrina, I made the witch. No, actually the witch started out, the witch is fresh topology that I made. I forget sometimes. But yeah, it's just all about fun, kind of thinking about your what your end product is, what it is that you want to do, and what it is you need it for. If I needed this for production, this character in particular has clean topology, and I'd be able to go ahead and I'd have to unpose her, but I'd be able to get her to a point where she could be used for an animation pipeline. This particular character would need some work to actually make new topology for her face, for her legs. The legs would be fairly simple, but yeah, the hair's still a mess. It is what it is, and it's not going to change anytime soon, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, it's just all about fun, kind of understanding where it is that you want to take it and why you need it. I need to find that button brush. It's got to be somewhere. Kind of drives me nuts that I'm not sure where it's at. Cause yeah, I made a button brush. It's nice. I use it for everything. But it doesn't want to be found. Yeah, I'm going to take this. I'm going to hide that, mask, kind of push it in some. So you can see it's kind of making this this impression of like a, what's it called, of a crease, of a fold. I'm just going to do something like this, just to kind of hold that a little bit more. And then what I want to do is I'm going to take my IMM primitives, and I've got this ring right here. Let's go ahead and split this out. Split unmasked. Geometry. Take the thickness all the way down. So I'm trying to keep them like uneven, make it so that they feel like they are not all lined up in the same exact way. And then I'm going to kind of I turned on AccuCurve just to make sure that it doesn't keep like a perfect circle. And I'm just going to move these around a little bit. Oh, let's go ahead and grab this and move topological. Okay. And then they're not quite as thick as I'd like. So let's go over to deformation. We'll hit inflate. And then let's use startup material. We'll grab this, sure. And we'll say mRGB color fill object. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to add kind of like a little tie back here in the back. Nice. Yeah, you go enjoy your hike, man. Yeah, that's something that it sounds fun. It sounds fun. I'm going to take this and I'm going to give this a little bit of like a twist, just so that it feels, oops, a bit more controlled, but also like it's oh, here, let's actually take this one, pull it out. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it feel like it's got kind of a cross of oh, you know what? I'm trying to think about trying to think about how I want this to go, because I know for sure that I want to have, let's grab the curve. And you know what? I've got my curve simple down here. Let's say simple curve. We'll say open. We'll just drag that out. It's creating way too much definition there. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, let me see. Let's grab this, bring it down, bring this, grab this, bring it up. Cool. Okay, so now we've got that. And now we can do that same thing with this. So we just kind of bring this up, bring this up, bring this down, bring this up, bring it down, bring it up, bring it down, bring it up, bring it down, bring it down. Okay. And then similar sort of principle. In fact, I might even just leave it like this, but similar sort of principle. I'm going to go ahead and take this piece, split out the little stitches, stitch, and then we'll say deformation, inflate, and then with the geometry, let's go ahead and take out the thickness, and we'll leave this smooth where it is. That's pretty good. Take that, move that up, something like that. Let me see, it's 11:30. I'll go for like another half hour maybe, and then I want to go do something fun with the family. It's Saturday. They deserve to have fun. Okay, so you get something like that. I could have gone through and done something like that here on the sides, and that might have been cooler. I don't know. You know what? I think that might be cooler. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that I have just this selected and the little stitch rings over here on the side. And I'm going to drag them over here. Okay, and then we just rotate it until it fits. Well, it fits as well as possible anyway, because there's going to be a point too where we're going to have to do kind of like what we did on the back section. Okay, so I'm going to say ZModeler, we'll say insert edge loop here and here. We'll say mask edge loop partial. We'll go boom. Oh, come on. Invert it. Kind of push that in. And then with these, what I want to do, let's go ahead and let's add one more. Oh, not mask, sorry. Insert. Single edge loop here. Single edge loop here. And I'll just use like extrude poly, and then I'll hold shift while I'm extruding to make sure that it just pulls on it instead of actually extruding. this and kind of slide that down. Kind of interesting how it's like rounding out over there. Let's kind of take this and pull it up. And it looks pretty good. Let's see, just trying to go through here and figure out the best way to make this feel uneven, so like it's two pieces put together instead of being you know, one piece. Just trying to make sure this feels unique and good. So far so good. So that's good. Let's come over here and get rid of the extra bits here. Okay, let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. We'll say insert. Something like this, mask that edge loop, boom. Push that in. Let's go ahead and take this and pull this out. Maybe we'll lower it too. And then let's make sure that we can see this. We'll make sure that this is kind of pinched together a little bit. Okay. So for these pieces down here, yeah, let's go ahead and make sure that we save. All right. So for these pieces down here, what we want to do is, since I already have them, and they're pretty much how I want them to be, pardon me, I'm going to come down to mirror and weld. Oh, but turn off the local symmetry because that's a pain. Mirror and weld, so that way we get one on the other side as well. And then same thing for the little donuts, for the... Man, now I want donuts. Ah, that's something interesting to me. I didn't realize that this had been misaligned. I wonder at what point that happened, because I don't remember doing anything to make that happen. Okay, anyway, so we go through, we fix it, right? Cool. That's better. Okay, let's say deformation, mirror. Then we can go back and say mirror and weld. Cool. Okay, so now we've got this. I'm going to mask out the side that is already good. Same thing with the actual stitches. And let's go ahead and turn on our thingamabobbermajig again. Let's see how close are we to. Okay, we just have a little ways to go. Not a whole lot of adjustment needed. In fact, I'm going to take this and maybe make it so that it's just rotated some. Just make it slightly different. That way it keeps things a little bit more interesting. It's harder to find the reuse if you rotate things around. So now I got the stitches on both sides. And that should be cool. I think something that could be neat is to have some sort of little pendant kind of hanging from her waist, like just kind of here draped over the side or something. Yeah, it'll be a different challenge for a different time. You know, figure out what that is. Let's see. Save again, because you get paranoid after a certain point. Qu'est-ce que tu veux faire aujourd'hui? Oui. Tu veux aller à la plage? Let me go through.
But I would have been happier if you did.
I'm going to start kind of posing this, and you know what? We're just going to keep the mask pretty strong for right now. We'll worry about smoothing out the actual shape in a little bit.
I folded this earlier.
Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll kind of position this a little bit. Okay. And then for this other arm, I've got to have her holding like these turnips or these yeah, let's go ahead and kind of bring back the image. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this arm more positioned kind of up and out. Kind of like that. See, I'm trying to think like I'm looking down at my own arm as I like pose my own arm, and just like, you know, how am I going am I gonna have? And I don't have anything next to me that I can really hold on to. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so I've got like this little dumbbell that I can kind of like hold out, and I'm trying to think about the composition and how I'm going to pose it. So like if I'm holding on to this, onto this, this little weight, what's the pose? How can I make that pose nice and clear, while also making it feel kind of awkward? And here I'm gonna take this hand and kind of pose it in here like this, something kind of like that. And then obviously it needs to be turned into a fist, but one thing at a time, right? Russian Blue Art, hello. I'm about to wrap up on the stream here within the next like 15 minutes or so. So you get to catch on the final little bit for this particular stream. Here's one thing that I do need to do. Let's come in here, and I'm going to say, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, she's been a lot of fun to play around with. Going to take this. We'll say split unmasked. And then this is going to be her wand. In order to make it the wand, I'm going to need to, in fact, let's go ahead and center that. We'll say extender. Just extend that out a little bit. Okay, accept. And then, yeah, I'll just grab this. I don't want the wand to be like huge and long. It's like, I mean like a Harry Potter wand, the Elder Wand is like super long. It's like 17 inches long, something like that. It's really, really long. So that's not quite what I want. I want something that's going to feel more like 8 to 10 inches long, maybe. So I'm going to take this, let's center it, let's kind of scale it down a little bit. And then I'll do some sculpting on it eventually as well. Because I really want it to feel organic and fun and just really kind of like a branch. I'm trying to work out like a new pose for this arm, so the wand's going to be in a different position than it currently is in the sketch. But I think by going through and positioning things in this sort of way, I get to really begin to get a better feel for what this character needs to be like. I'm going to take this, let's move that gizmo in there a little bit further. Let me see. Yeah, take it and kind of rotate it. Okay, make sure that all my high points are happening in the right spots. Oh, got to turn off my AccuCurve. I'm just going to smooth out just this transition right here to the wrist. There's some other things that I can do to kind of smooth out this transition just a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Like one of the things that you'll see often when you have a rigged character for animation is that the forearm will kind of twist with the hand you know, because that's kind of what happens in real life. You know, you get the rotation of the radia, the rate the yeah, radia and ulna. No, shoot. I forget what the actual name of the bone is. But that bone, the bone that actually rotates. You get that rotation from that bone, and then, you know, the ulna kind of stays still. So you get kind of like this twist in the arm. I'm not going to worry too much about doing anything like that for this character, I don't think. I'm just going to make sure that the anatomy holds up and that it looks right when it's posed. So yeah, that's where we're at right there. I'm just going to kind of smooth out that transition a bit. Now, one of the other things that needs to happen is that this elbow kind of needs to even out some. I mean, there needs to be some give, but really it's pretty close already. Let's go ahead and we'll tweak this and we'll refine the shape later. Time to stand. You've been sitting on your butt since 10 to 8. Get up and move your body. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that this is nice and smooth and creates a nice transition from the green to the purple right here. I really like having nice clean flow. Makes everything so much easier. Okay, I'm going to take this and kind of slide it forward just a smidge. Smooth it out a little bit. Okay, so now that arm's pretty decent. Let's go ahead and we'll smooth out the transitions here. Similar sort of idea. I need to kind of adjust where this elbow is just a little bit. And then I want to take this polygroup, kind of even it out. Okay, kind of invert this, and then we can smooth that part out too. And it helps to, let's grab this, to bring this part forward a little bit. Okay, and then right here I'm going to take this part of the arm, so it's going to give us a little bit of that twist that we're talking about a second ago. Okay, I need to make sure that the arm is kind of bending and creating the right shape. Right, not bending per se. I mean, bending is not the right word, but that the forms of the muscle and everything, the bone, that it's following more the pose than it is at the moment. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Not perfect, but it's pretty good. Good enough to be acceptable for the moment. Okay, so we'll worry about posing this hand when we have something more to pose it with. But let's go ahead and we'll keep working on this other hand so that it's more in line with what we need. Okay, let's see. Let's grab this whole section of the hand right here. Okay, and then right here what I want to do is I want to start kind of pulling these fingers so that they're going around, oh come here, so that they're going around the wand. Get rid of that spotlight image again. Let's see if we can get this middle finger to go nicely. One of the things that I'm going to have to clean up is the transition between knuckle and hand. In fact, maybe what I'll do instead, since I'm at the beginning of this and I don't have to worry about anything really at the moment, I'm going to make sure that these are all their own polygroups, just so that they're easier to control. Okay. And then I don't have to worry about, accidentally grabbing multiple fingers at the same time and losing that sort of warp. So so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and grab this. Let's grab this and unmask that whole thing there. Okay. And we're going to do just like what we did with the other part of the arm, and just kind of give it a harsh bend right there. I am going to have to do some kind of repositioning or re-sculpting of these interior parts of the finger. In fact, that's an interesting idea. I'm going to try something. I am going to try something because I feel like this is, give me my mask lasso. It's a great time to try stuff. Okay, so I'm going to grab this. I'm going to kind of soften it toward the center here. And what I want to do, here, let's go ahead and pull this off to the side here. I'm going to make sure that this is going in line with the topology, and I'm going to scrunch it down, so that when I go in and say, select that, select this, and I push this, here, let's go ahead and soften that once in that direction. Once I come in here and start to manipulate this finger so that it's going down, oops. Okay, so that when I manipulate this so that when it's going down that direction, I already have the topology kind of bunched together so that I can already begin to create and control the transition between the segments of the finger. This is working. This is working. Huh. Attaboy, Steven. Attaboy. Oops, let's just go ahead and keep it up then for right now. I congratulate myself on a job well done. go ahead and solo that out so that we can see it. I can't believe it's already lunchtime. Bring this forward too. All right. Not too shabby. Okay, so for this purple part of the finger, I'm going to want to do something a little bit different, but we'll worry about the about this blue part, making sure that these segments are doing as they ought to. I'm just going to kind of manipulate this, move this more into position. Okay, kind of pull this down a little bit. I know that somebody out there is like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm winging it. Some of this is going to get a little bit messy, but it's going to be fine for what I need. Just trying to make sure that I'm kind of keeping forms and shapes and things. Make sure that that's all the way masked out, and then this little fingertip needs to be kind of so I guess a note for myself for the next finger is going through and trying to make sure that the fingertip does not get distorted, that it doesn't get warped because it doesn't feel like it needs to be. Okay, so that's not too shabby. Okay, so just go ahead and kind of push that up against the wand tip there. It's already afternoon. Let's go ahead and save. I do want to kind of finish out this this hand. So stick with me. Let's finish out the hand. I mean, stick with me if you want to. take this up and try to smooth it out. I want this transition for this pink to slope into that green to make more of a shape right there, and more of a slope, and then a line change. A direction change to that slope. Let's kind of smooth that out some. So right here with this part of the hand, it's cool to kind of pay attention to kind of how your bones meet right there and how it creates like that straight line going along right there. So I'm trying to fit that in. It's looking a little bit better. Oops. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Take it from a different angle, make sure that it's working. So right here, I mean, you'll see me kind of going around and pushing and pulling things, trying to clean up some of these plane changes and things like that. I feel like by doing that, I'm strengthening the design. So I'm trying to get a feel for how that'll all work out, making sure that different forms are working together. I'm going to kind of broaden out that thumb just a little bit. Might do something like that with these other fingers too. Yeah, that's too much. That's too much. That's a little bit better. Let's just do a little bit of manual tweaking there to make sure that feels a little bit better. There we go. That's better. That's better. Better-ish. Well, let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and give these fingernails kind of more of a wrap, like a more natural sort of wrap. So if you ever look at your fingernails from like the end, you'll see them like kind of curving around your finger. So that's fun thing to kind of consider there. Let's see, let's go ahead and grab these. I'm going to try to move both of these fingers at the same time. Oh, you know what? And we wanted to do the little center thing that I did with the other finger. Okay, and then let's get the whole fingertip so that it doesn't. Now we'll go ahead and we'll kind of start bending these fingers into position. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. We're getting close. We're getting close. Getting closer. Do, 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 do.
With the one of these out, I want to see. You're doing it wrong.
Okay, so now we're going to take this. And we're going to move this. Not sure what my wife found, but she was excited and it sounded like it was something to do with the Mona Lisa. And my kids got excited, and so I'm curious to see what it was. Oops. Qu'est-ce que tu as trouvé? Yeah?
Yeah, I didn't even know I had that stuff anymore.
Oh, like yours from when you went to go visit the Louvre.
Yeah, I found a whole bunch of stuff I didn't
Nice.
know I still had.
That's a good find.
Look at that.
Okay, one of the things I'll have to adjust is that padding of the hand, because like as you like close your hand, that padding gets compressed together. So yeah, we'll have to play with that here in a minute. How many years have you been sculpting? I've been inside of ZBrush since 2012, so about 10 years now. It's been an awesome, wild ride, to say the very, very least. I'm just going to start by lowering this down, and then I'll worry about kind of smoothing things out, making sure that everything's working properly, volume-wise. But yeah, I want to bring this down. You'll see that every once in a while I'll like actually hit the tab key and things kind of disappear. You just hit the tab key and brings it right back. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's like a professional mode in case you wanted to like just have a clean, clear UI and not have to worry about seeing extra buttons, or if you like to use just the pop-up menus or whatever, however it is you want to be able to work it. There's so much that you can do with it inside of ZBrush, but yeah, I don't typically bother with pop-up menus. Let's go ahead and select this. And we'll go ahead and position it. And so yeah, this is one where we're going to need to kind of fix where this joint happens, but yeah, we're almost there. Okay, there's going to be some like anatomy tweaks and some shape fixes that I'm going to need to make down here, because like I'm not liking how the wrist is transitioning right here. So I'll have to play around a little bit and see what I can come up with, but it's interesting. It's like it didn't smooth it out after a certain point there. Yeah. Éxito. Gracias. Your local bear. No, this is not Blender. This is ZBrush. If you're familiar with 3D professional packages, you should have in the very least heard of ZBrush. It is the leading tool for digital sculpting, for for all sorts of cool stuff. For toys, for games, for film, for all sorts of things. Fantastic tool. I use it personally to be able to do things like toys and characters just for fun, just playing around. But I also use it at work for environments, for all sorts of props and characters and all sorts of things. I love ZBrush. It's such a fun tool. All right. Coming to an end on this particular hand. So now, in the very least, she looks semi-finished, you know? It's just a matter of going through now and finishing up on the other side. And in fact, because of the pose of the other hand, it might be worthwhile for me to just copy this hand over to the other side once I'm completely done with it. It still has some tweaks of some things that I need to do to make sure that this is working right. But it's looking pretty dang good, and I'm excited for it. It should be a really fun one when she's all done. The thumb's a little bit long. It's a little bit better. It's just going to be a matter of like going through, and I'll probably be tweaking this like all the rest of the time that I'm working on this project. But super fun. I won't be streaming this character on ZBrush Live again, because the next time I stream will be sometime next month, I'm sure, and this character needs to be done sometime this week. And so, if for those of you who are interested, for those of you who like to participate in art challenges, there is the let me go to Instagram because it'll be easier to find it that way. School of Games. There is this mood board challenge. Okay, and this is an awesome challenge. I'm going to send you guys this link because I think it's worth taking a look. There are prizes to be won. They just barely opened up for people to go through and compete. You know, this is essentially you take all the different little elements. You don't have to use all of them, but you know, you get inspired by what's here on the board, and you create your own characters, your own character design based off of that. Magic Apprentice, mood board challenge, witch or wizard, you know, whatever it is you want it to be. And then we've got things like these color swatches over here. We have different tools, different things like, you know, that you would see in potion making, you know, cauldron, keys, these cool scissors that are just unique and different, some different amulets, some different keywords that might apply into your character's attitude or your character's your character type. You know, light or dark, clumsy, nervous, shy, worried, different potion vials, a potions book, different tarot cards, dream catcher, different symbols, things like that that can help to really channel your creativity. It leaves it very open-ended. There is no indication as to whether it has to be male or female, age, anything like that. Just kind of these ideas to help spark your creativity. And yeah, so first place prizes, second place, third place. The first 3 prizes are going to be chosen by the judges. The 4th through 10th are going to be chosen at random. Just so that way everybody has a chance at winning something, but it's still kind of a fun thing that there will be a 1st through 3rd chosen by judges. And I'm one of the judges, so come join, have fun. This was done by my friend Micah Snyder. Really fun, really cool. She's the one that always kind of heads up these challenges. Oh, I didn't mean to actually go through that. It's this arrow that I wanted. Oh yeah, so you have until April 24th. Okay, so until the end of next month, a little over a month away, and it just started, less than 2 weeks ago, about 10 days ago. So, yeah. Should be pretty cool. It has all these different points here, things that you can download, asset folder, different things like the what's it called, the logos, the different things like that, to be able to put it into your submission. And yeah, I'd say go for it, jump in. It's also part sponsored by Adobe, so it's a big enough of a deal. Okay, so pretty fun. And yeah, recommend jumping into that. That's what we're working on here, is kind of my piece to help inspire people who are entering the contest. And yeah, just having fun with it. This little bit right here needs to be pulled back some. Okay, let's go ahead and invert that, and we will smooth that out so that it's fitting more in with the other bits of the finger. This little bit right here also needs to kind of come forward some. So let's see, we're going to invert this. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to, what are we doing? We're going to take this and kind of pull it down some so that it fits that, essentially what's happening is that, like, as you bend your finger, that finger is the bone itself is actually pushing the muscle down, so that muscle needs to be able to form around that bone. So that's why we're getting kind of like this dip right here. Okay, let's kind of push this out a little bit, make it feel like, a little bit more muscle mass is being displaced here. Let's kind of bring this, kind of fix this finger just a bit. Same principle, making sure that it's kind of fitting around where the supposed bone would be, right? not perfect, but pretty stinking exciting. A little bit less width there on that middle finger. Okay, there's still some things to go through and kind of fix and refine, but this might be all I've got really time for today. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to pick this back up on my personal channel. I'll drop that in the chat here in just a minute. Let me see. It would be twitch.tv/smartist, or you can find me at youtube.com/smartist. And those are kind of, you know, like I said, like pretty much any of the social media platforms. If I'm on it, that's how you find me, is under Smartist, SMAARTIST. Combination of my initials and the word artist. I love it when serendipity works in your favor, you know. Okay, this other part of the hand though, let's kind of flatten that out a little bit. Cool. All right, I'm going to leave it like that actually for right now, and we'll kind of see how much farther we can get with it. You know, the next time I open up, I will hopefully be able to jump back into to streaming this on my personal channel. Gosh, hopefully in the next couple of days. It'll probably be later in the evening. Yeah, it'll probably be later in the evening, Pacific time. So like, you know, think maybe 7 o'clock for an hour or something like that. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see kind of how that goes. But yeah, there we are. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me, guys. It's so much fun. It's so much nicer having people around to chat with. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of do a little bit of like a view thing here, just so we can see the close-up and the far away. We got a lot done. Getting that skirt done was nice. Getting those clothes on there, it's nice. Getting some hands and arms in there, that's nice. So, you know, thanks for coming, dropping by, hanging out with me, and hopefully you guys had fun. Hopefully there was some sort of, you know, learning that you could have, you know, picked up from there. I'll try to make sure that I find my buttons brush so that I can finish creating the blouses, and then I'll see what else I can add into there. Thanks, Hannibal. Very nice, very nice. It's how it's said. It's not how it's written is important, right? If you can write it the way it's said, then that's fun. Yeah, so there we have it. Thanks for coming and hanging out, and I will see you guys next time I see you. Smartist out.